Grumble, grumble.
Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I am coming back at you with another episode of Round 1, my gameplay series where I basically only commit to taping as much of a gameplay as I feel like taping. But this time we're going to be capturing all of it because this is a very special Round 1 because we are playing Shadows of Brimstone, one of my all-time favorite games, and actually the genesis of this channel lives with Shadows of Brimstone, because a couple years ago I saw a question on the Facebook group for Shadows of Brimstone about Hex Crawl, which I had just started playing and had spent months like preparing all the materials for and whatnot. And so I shot a video with a very basic kind of walkthrough of how to actually play the hex crawl system for Shadows of Brimstone, and I thought to myself, hey, that's not a bad video, and the guy seemed to find it useful, so that's what drove me to start creating my own content. So I'm very excited about this. We're going to be playing as the Sumo over here, who I have named Sumo, and then the Tredern veteran over here. And you're going to see a lot of customized kind of storage and whatnot on this video, because this game is a freaking beast. It is easily the most complicated board game I've ever seen. I can't imagine a game being more complicated than Shadows of Brimstone, to be honest. The core box is complicated enough, but once you start working in the expansions, the card packs, some of which give you alternate gameplay rules, we're going to be using one of them today. It's insane how complicated this game is, and it really does require like a dedicated storage kind of effort to be able to get it to the table, you know, in a reasonable amount of time. And I've actually been spending the last couple weeks working on what I call the Brimstone Restoration Project, where I'm going through, I re-sleeved every single card in much better sleeves. They were in these really crappy penny sleeves before, but I've re-sleeved all of them. I've purchased multiple custom organization boxes. These are BCW. This one is the 1600. And you can see I have all the decks labeled out. And you can see, even in this one box, there's like 30 different decks. And you can't just throw this shit back in the box and expect to be able to play it. So they all got to be separated out. And I've done the same thing. I have another one of those boxes, even bigger, behind me here, the 3200, if you can see that. This one has all of the Otherworld content in it. So you get the Belly of the Beast, the Blasted Waves, blah, 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 Derelict Ship. And then I've got the towns and special rules, which you can see there are just so many. Enemy traits, enemy factions, hero transformations, heroic efforts. So, and I've left a row so that I can expand on these other worlds. So it's no joke organizing this game, but once you get it organized, it is relatively easy to play. And you know, it's a trade-off basically, ease of use versus depth, you know, and I'm happy to pay the price for having this amount of content, which really is like an insane amount. And I haven't even started, I've just started unboxing the stuff that I have in Shrink for this game as well. And that's gonna take months to get all that stuff unboxed and assembled and get the cards sleeved and organized and everything. So that's gonna be like my whole winter. I'm gonna be working on this. I've also been going through and repainting the miniatures, and I'm just I'm just doing my super lazy paint style where I just spray them and throw some stuff on the base, and then I wash them with a thinned down Army Painter dark tone. But I think they look really good. I mean, the detail really comes out, and I'll throw some pictures up on the screen here so that you can get a nice close look at these guys. So I'm playing as the Sumo, who I believe takes up like an entire quadrant like that, and the Tredaran Veteran. Got all sorts of awesome gear here. The Veteran I'm playing as has an ability called From the Front Lines. He starts every adventure with D3 shatter grenades, so we're going to roll a die. He gets 1 shatter grenade. So he gets to start with 1 shatter grenade. But he also gains free attack once per fight, throw a shatter grenade. And then he got this Darkstone carbine instead of the trusty pistol. On top of that, he got the Letter from Home as a Tredaran personal item. Once per, +2 sanity, once per adventure, heal 2d6 health, sanity, any mix. And because of the rules, the setup of the mission we're going to be playing, which is the DiceFest exclusive mission and the Dead Shall Rise, it gives you, when you're starting out, if it's your first adventure, you get either 2 gear cards or 1 mine artifact. And I drew mine artifacts for both of my characters, and I received San Pedro's Lantern. Whenever a darkness card is drawn, the hero with this lantern may use 1 grit to cancel that card on a d6 roll of 5+. So that's really great. And then he's also, his Tredaran faction is the Union, which gives him well supplied. Anytime you use a side bag token, roll a d6. On a roll of 5 or 6, you don't have to discard it. So this 1 shatter grenade could go a long way if I get lucky with some rolls. I could have gotten up to 3 because it's a d3 roll for those shatter grenades. But I will take the 1 that I got. And then over here we've got the Sumo. He is rocking his Sumo Mawashi. Whenever he kills an enemy, recover a grit on a d6 roll of 5 or 6. That's incredibly powerful, especially when combined with, the Wasteland Survival gear that he got as an artifact. He drew a mine artifact that gave him an Otherworld artifact, which was Blasted Waste. And then he got the Wasteland Survival gear. So he ignores weather effects and is immune to poison. Once per turn, you can use 1 grit to heal d3 + 1 wound, sanity, any mix. So both my characters have self-healing, which is awesome. And this guy has a way to feed himself grit by killing, which is going to be great. So I think that's about it. So you can see some other interesting things that are going on here. I'm playing with this kind of player mat that I had printed and laminated at FedEx. I think this is by Phil Barfly. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm almost positive that it is. It's really nice. You know, I wish somebody would make basically this exact mat, but just make it dual layered so that the cards would kind of, you know, sit in there and you could throw the tokens in there. I have a buddy who has a Glowforge printer, and I might even ask him to try whipping something similar to that up. But the mat itself is really nice because you can write in all the values, so you don't really need your player card anymore. I keep it out because, of course, it does have their starting abilities on it, and that's useful to be able to reference so that I don't have to write a wall of text on this sheet. It's got spaces for a lot of your gear, at least. I mean, there's no way to store all the gear that you get in this game on a mat. It's just insane. And then trackers for health and sanity and everything. You write your defense values on there. Really makes playing the game much more enjoyable and a lot easier. So, and reduces a lot of tokens too. You can see here, you write XP, you write gold, you could write grit, Darkstone, even your health, all that stuff, and you're just like wiping out a whole subset of tokens. I'm also going to be using the roll for scavenge and loot instead of drawing the cards. Just makes it easier to get through the game. It's the same odds as drawing the cards is. It's just 2 less decks that I have to shuffle. And I'm going to be using the special rule, which is fixed hero move. So my heroes get 4 movement plus any modifiers that they have. And that, again, is just to save me from having to roll, you know, dice over and over again. It makes it a little more predictable. Well, some people don't like roll move. I don't actually mind it. I'm just trying out the fixed movement rolls kind of for the first time. What else? Yes, I'm also going to be playing with the Heroic Efforts deck. This is a card supplement that basically gives you a set of potential kind of heroic efforts, as it says, that you get to draw when it's 1 or 2 heroes. You get to draw them at the start of every fight. Each hero can draw one of these, and so you can see here's a couple of examples. These are both the same, actually. Rally. Play at any time to heal 2d6 wound sanity any mix. So they're just like powerful boons that you can get to help you get through the brutality of the mission, which I thought would be appropriate because in The Dead Shall Rise, it sounds like it's pretty hard because they tell you during the setup, all heroes start on the mine entrance map as normal. Each hero may start with 2 extra side bag tokens, and for any hero that this is their first adventure, they may either draw 2 gear cards or 1 mine artifact brought with them from their home in Cattlehorn. So I've actually only got 1 side token for each of my characters, so they each need to get another one. I think I'll just take... I'm going to take whiskey. Because neither of these guys is particularly a defensive powerhouse, but they do have the ability to at least potentially heal physical damage. Although I guess both of these apply to sanity as well. Yeah, once per adventure, heal 2d6 sanity. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to take some whiskey with me in case I go crazy. All right. So I think we're ready to go, actually. Let's go ahead and get started by reading the text for the mission. All Hallows Eve approaches, and the dead have been rising from their graves at an alarming rate. Dr. Bennings, the frontier surgeon in the nearby town of Cattlehorn, went missing a few months ago, and everybody assumed he had been carried off by demons in the night. But the truth is far more sinister. Growing weary of the seemingly endless stream of death that came to his operating table, he lost his faith in medicine alone. Being able to save his patients. Turning to the darker tomes in his growing collection of occult texts, he began to practice the black arts of necromancy. But bringing back his friends and countrymen from recent death began to take a toll, both physically and mentally. As the corruption ravaged his body, so too did it spoil his mind. Though sworn to secrecy, his trusted nurse Clara could bear the sights and hideous sounds of his experiments no longer. Returning to the doc's office with a small mob of townfolk bearing torches and firearms, they found the building already ablaze, and Doc Benny's gone, escaped into the hills. Losing all pretense of good intent, the doctor's cunning mind for malice had become focused on revenge now, his soul lost to the shadows. Twisted and demonic, he works feverishly in his dark lair on a terrible ritual to unleash the risen dead across the land. As the strongest fighters amongst the people from Cattlehorn, only you have a chance of hunting down your old companion, the doctor, and putting a stop to his madness before it is too late. This is very cool. So we talked about the setup, the mission goal. Hero must find 3 clues to locate Dr. Benning's dark lair and put an end to his madness before the necromantic ritual is complete. Special rules, common enemies, coffin breakers. I do not have the coffin breakers, so I'm going to be using the undead gunslingers instead. Whenever a threat card would be drawn, roll a d6 On a roll of 4+, do not draw a threat card, but instead the heroes are attacked by undead. Yep, light threat, medium threat, high threat. These fights generate loot for the heroes as normal. And we've got here the Doctor's new friends. All undead enemies gain +2 health and are worth +5 XP, empowered by the necromantic magic. It's also hard to hold back the darkness. The heroes need to roll 1 higher than normal to successfully hold back the darkness. And whenever the darkness marker crosses into a new stage of the depth track, each hero takes D6 corruption hits, and all enemies gain 1 combat for the rest of the adventure. Holy crap. So this is a blitz. We really need to be moving. It's this way. Clara the nurse traveled into the old mines with the doctor once to tend a wounded prospector, recalling vague memories of the path he may have taken again. Whenever the heroes place a passage map tile, they may look at the next exploration token in the stack and choose to either put it back on top of the stack or return it and shuffle the stack. Okay, so that's really nice. So if you run into a passage which typically doesn't kind of advance the mission, it just leads to another room, you get a chance to see, is that passage leading to someplace valuable or not, and a chance to kind of make it potentially lead somewhere valuable. And then we've got Clara's Bone Saw. Once per turn, the heroes may choose an enemy model for Clara the nurse to attack. It immediately takes D6 wounds, ignoring defense. Afterwards, you must also roll a single defense roll for Clara, needing a 3+. The heroes may collectively spend 2 grit to re-roll this. If the roll has failed, she is also killed in the attack. Note down that Clara has been killed, and it's this way, and Clara Bonesaw rules may no longer be used. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I'll be risking her until the end of the fight, basically. I think we've got enough now to at least get started. So we shall do so. Yeah, I'm gonna move this stuff around. It's always hard finding storage for all of your Shadows of Brimstone stuff, even on a table. And this is a large table. This is at the time, it was the biggest game topper that they made, the Moriarty or whatever. Oh, right. We each start with 1 grit. Gotta get my grit. Take another quick look, make sure there's nothing else I'm missing here. He's +1 max grit, but I have that noted down. He's got the wrestling champion ability I chose for him. You may now automatically pass all escape tests and may move into spaces with large size or smaller models, including with your push ability, shifting them as normal. Your push ability now works on a D6 roll of 3+. Your combat hits are +1 damage on models that you've moved with push. So push is one of his special abilities here. When moving into a space with a model, I can roll a D6 on a 3+. He pushes the model back into one of the 3 adjacent spaces behind it. And no single model may be pushed more than once. He also gets, he has meaty hands, so he's actually +2 combat because both his hands are empty. So he's rolling 4 dice for combat, which is really powerful. He hits on, what does he hit on? Yeah, he hits on 4s. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. So, yeah, the first thing we do is we roll to hold back the darkness. And we have to roll 1 higher than normal. We also need our darkness tracker, which I forgot to put out on the table. I'm not sure where the hell I'm gonna put this. This is the 3D depth tracker that Flying Frog produced that I painted up. Very happy with how it turned out. It's really nice. I wish they would do more of this, more blingy type stuff to replace cardboard components and stuff. in a dream world, if they could somehow blingify the tokens, that would be really awesome. I know you can get the little token coin holders and stick them in there, but that seems a little cheesy to me. I would love plastic tokens, but also I have like 1,000 tokens, so I don't know that I would love that. All right, the Tredaran Veteran, just holding back the darkness. I'm using my new dice I got at DiceFest. So he's rolling 2d6, and he needs an 8+, which he does not get. He would have gotten it if it wasn't for this fancy mission. So he fails to hold back the darkness. It moves up 1, and now it is our turn. Activating in initiative order, we've got the Tredaran Veteran going first. The Sumo obviously is very slow because he's so giant. So he's gonna roll for grit. He gets a 2, which does not get him a grit. And he's just gonna move 4. So he's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, right up to there. Sumo is gonna roll for grit, and he actually gets 1. Well, that is a nice start, especially since he can hold 3 grit. And then he will move. His movement is a little complicated. You can also see here this board is kind of warped a little bit. This drives me crazy with this game. I've had major warpage issues. I've thrown in desiccants into all the boxes that I store the map tiles in, and that usually helps, but this one is still a little messed up. So his movement is going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe. And he's going to go ahead and scavenge. So he's going to roll 3 dice. Looking for 6s. Not happening. Okay. We do room exploration, but there's none to do. And then it's the end of the turn, and we come back to holding back the darkness. Holding back the darkness is going to be really hard. Oh my god, double 1s. Okay, so right off the bat, we are running into a little bit of a shitstorm, because when you roll doubles on the hold back the darkness, you have to reference your darkness chart, which I don't seem to have out. Again, organizing this game is not easy. I don't know if it's on, if you can see it on the camera, but I just busted out my gigantic binder that is full of like hundreds of rule sets and cards and all sorts of stuff, just so I can keep it organized and try to keep a handle on what I already own versus what I don't. Because once you start collecting the card supplement packs, it's like really hard. You have to like create an Excel tracker, or what I do is I just save the front card and put it into a binder. So, double 1s on the mine depth track. Ambush attack. There are fiendish creatures and demons in the dark places of the world. Ambush attack, draw a threat to immediately ambush the heroes. Okay, so I want to go back and check the special rules again. It says whenever a threat card would be drawn. Yeah, so roll a d6. Roll a 4+, do not draw a threat card, but instead the heroes are attacked by coffin breakers. Okay, so it's d3 plus 1 coffin breakers. And of course it's 6. So, wait, no, did I just roll the wrong? I rolled the wrong die. D3 plus 1. Okay, so it's 3. And it's not coffin breakers, it's the undead gunslingers. I've got their book out here because they do have some special kind of rules. They have shootout, and of course they are attacking me ambush style. So we flip around, I guess yet another box for my miniatures. And when I say I'm going through the Brimstone restoration project, what I really mean is I'm repainting, stripping and repainting every single miniature so that I can do them in this kind of lazy style. For this game, more than any other game that I own, it's just critical to have like a simple process that's repeatable, that I can remember how I did it a year or two from now and do it en masse. And so this is what I came up with, was this basically wash process. I'll put some pictures up of the miniatures. It's been a while since I played Brimstone, with the exception of DiceFest, so we're gonna look at the rule book here. One thing I hate about this game, there is no index. It'd be really nice if there was an index in the rule book. That seems like especially a missed opportunity, because this is the revised edition. They should have put an index in, but they didn't. So we're looking for the ambush rules. Let's see, this is why it's so annoying that there's no index, because I have to like fumble my way through here. Yeah, ambush attack. Sometimes an enemy attack will be listed in an ambush. Instead of being placed in the standard checkerboard pattern, enemies are placed directly adjacent to the heroes. Yeah, adjacent to the heroes and gain +2 initiative. So basically, they're going to be the farthest away that they can be. He's going to be right there. He's going to be right there. Well, actually, I guess he'll be right there. And then this guy will roll. 5 goes to the sumo, so he's right there. And they're +2 initiative during the first turn of a fight. This came up during the Hold Back the Darkness roll, so we are thrust into a fight immediately. Another bit of custom storage. I'm not kidding when I say, like, how the hell are you gonna find anything for this game if you don't have this kind of organization in place? It's just, I would love to hear stories, horror stories from people who have tried, because I just have spent like literally like years carefully thinking through exactly how the game is played and how things happen, and then organizing everything around that so that I can survive. Survive my playing of the game. Okay, Undead Outlaws. These murderers and robbers in life, undead bandits are returned from the grave to bring death. Predominantly ranged enemies that have the shootout standard ability. Yeah, they have high defense. Plus they're fucking, are they buffed? Yeah, they have +2 health. Because of the mission, there's a lot to track in this game. It's kind of a problem. Any shootout enemy that failed to retreat or was stuck adjacent to a hero and could not move away will make a normal combat attack against a random adjacent hero. Okay, when a group of enemies with the shootout standard ability needs to be placed in ambush, they are not placed adjacent to the heroes like other enemies. Instead, select a random hero and place all of the shootout enemies from that group on the selected hero's map tile as far from any heroes as possible. This usually allows them to sneak in from a side passage or get placed at the end of a hall or room, maybe even behind the heroes. Okay, so this means that they actually snuck up behind us. Just so. They are +2 health. They typically have 5 health. That's super annoying also. Need more health trackers. Use dice to track enemy health. So they each have 7. clumped up though. It'd be a good shatter grenade targets. They are +2 because of the ambush, which puts them to 4 initiative, which means that they will activate first during the fight. First of all, I need to just remind myself, am I missing anything else about initiating a fight? Stuff will get missed when you play this game. It's impossible to avoid, especially if you're playing it solo. If you're playing this game with 4 people who had extensively played it and were dedicated to learning the rule books and stuff, you could maybe catch everything. But playing solo, special missions, special rules in the mission, haven't played for a while, it's really hard to capture everything. Yeah, so basically they just start activating. These guys, size medium, shootout. First of all, they have Fear 2. Heroes starting their activation adjacent automatically takes 2 horror hits. They don't start adjacent because these guys are ranged. They've got their Twin Irons ranged attack. So it's got a range of 6, shots 4, damage 2. And they are not infamous because we did not draw a card. They've got range of 6 with the guns. Or 4, they hit on 4+. They have 1 combat that does 3 damage, 4 defense, 5 health. Whew. They are tough ones. Plus they have the extra 2 health, so 7 health. And they'll start us out. So they're gonna do their shootout. Shootout markers are used to denote which heroes have been targeted and by how many enemy range attacks. Any suitable marker can be used for this. Simple way to keep track of which heroes have already been targeted or by how many enemies. After they retreat, the shootout enemies find a target for their range attack. Step through the shootout enemies 1 by 1, completing the following procedures. Select a random hero, does not have a shootout marker on him yet. Yeah, so we need our shootout markers. Should be right here. Yeah, so they're each going to get 1. Just gonna put it there. And then a random guy will get the final one. They're already in range, so they won't even move, so they're just going to attack. Roll range attacks from the enemies against each hero equal to the number of shootout markers on that hero. Then remove all the shootout markers. Okay. And in terms of who takes the extra shot, it's going to be the Tredaran. So he's getting 2 shots. Make it sound like they attack. Once all the enemy groups are moved and placed, roll ranged attacks from the enemies against each hero equal to the number of shootout markers on that hero. Yeah. All right, so the first one activates range 6, shots 4, so he needs 4 dice. He's hitting on 4s or better. Okay, so he gets 1 hit, it's a crit, but crits don't count for back dice. Unless they were infamous, they would have gritty critical hits, only reduce, okay, so that's against the enemies. Okay, so he hits me with He hits me one time, so I roll defense. I'm looking for a 4 or better. I do not get it. And he's doing 2 damage, so that's it. I take 2 damage because, well, I do have armor actually. Plus 2 health. Doesn't actually help with any of that though. Yeah. Just gonna recheck the rules again. It's been a long time. Yeah. So right off the bat, the Tredaran takes 2 damage. Not awesome. Next one attacks the Tredaran. Same deal. Oh, Jesus. 3 hits. Tredaran rolls 1 defense. He could grit that, but it's pretty early to be spending grit already. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna take 4 more damage. That's a serious amount of damage. He's gonna grit the defense roll and try to block some more. Okay, so he takes 2 more damage. And then the sumo takes 4 shots as well to get through. He takes 2 damage. So, starting out, a little rough. That's it for their activation, though. Next up, we've got the Tredaran veteran. So the first thing he does is roll for grit, which he does not get. And he's about to try and fuck somebody up here. He's got the old Darkstone Carbine, but he also has that free attack with a Shatter Grenade. I think he's going to throw that. We need to not get started on this bad of a foot. So he's got the Shatter Grenade. Discard to throw and bounce just like a bomb. All models in the same and adjacent spaces take D3 wounds, ignoring defense, and gain a stunned marker. So he has the potential to stun them. And we've got to deal with the bounce rule too. So he's going to spend his Shatter Grenade, but he is well supplies. Anytime you use a Cybad token, roll a d6, and roll a 5 or 6, you don't have to discard it. Yes! Awesome! For the Union! So he's going to throw his grenade there, and then he's going to roll for bounce. So the 2-hit roll... Oh, dynamite bounce. If the 2-hit roll misses, the dynamite will bounce 3 times. Okay, so he still gets to... That's weird a little. I didn't think that they could... Yeah. Throw dynamite is a ranged attack. Range with throws the hero's strength plus 3. Yep, so he's good on that. Roll once to hit. We have to see if it bounces. He is looking for a 4 or better. Perfect. Not only does it not bounce, but it crits. Can dynamite crit? I don't think it can crit. That'd be awesome. it can't crit. But it hits here. Where did I say? I wanted to throw it. Sorry. Yeah, he's going to throw it here. It's both of them. All models in the same and adjacent spaces take D3 wounds, ignoring defense, and gained a stunned marker. So, D3 wounds for the first guy. 3 wounds. Okay, that's a start. Knocks him down to 4. And he's stunned. I'll deal with that in a second. And the other guy gets, wow, 3 wounds, so he's down to 4 too. This might be too hard, having these coffin breakers, not having the coffin breakers and using the undead gunslingers instead. I also forgot though that at the start of every fight, I get to draw a heroic effort card. Shrug it off. He gets Rattling. Okay. Played at any time to heal 2d6 wound sanity, any mix. Nice try, but I'm still standing. And my buddy here gets Shrug it off. Played any time. Prevent all wound sanity damage you're about to take. It's just a scratch. Is that the best you can do? Love it. Love the thematic text. Okay. I don't think I really need either of those right now, but both those guys are stunned. Stunned markers. And stunned means they are -1 defense. For enemies, this is -1 to their defense value, while for heroes, it's -1 for their defense rolls. At the start of their activation, they roll a d6. On a roll of 4+, they can remove 1 stunned marker. Okay, so all it does is lower their defense, which is not the worst thing in the world. I mean, that kind of makes them easy meat. That was just his free attack. So now he gets to do his actual attack with the old Darkstone Carbine. He's got to take a corruption hit to fire it. And he resists corruption. He needs a 4 or better, which he does not get. But anytime you take a corruption point or gain a poison marker, roll a d6, ignore it on a roll of 5 or better. So he takes a corruption. It's fine. Small price to pay, I guess. And then he fires. He's got a range of 10, 2 shots, and it uses the d8 for damage. So I'm going to go ahead and start out blasting away at this guy. I believe he's got line of sight. Maybe not. I think I'll take a shot at this guy. He's definitely got line of sight to him. Looking for 4s or better. And he misses. And he has no grit. Shit. And no way around it. So, well, he's battle hardened. Defense 3+ instead against enemy ranged attacks, and you do not need to target adjacent enemies first when making a ranged attack. Okay. That's important. He might not have taken that damage. I don't remember what he rolled. I need to remember that going forward. So he's done. Next up, we've got the sumo. Roll to see if he gets a grit, which he does not. He's going to move. matter of fact, I'm not even sure he could have been here. I don't think he could have been, not with the Tredarin there. And then the farthest he could have moved was here. So he moves 1, 2. And he's attacking this guy. So 4 combat die. It's on a 4 or better. One freaking hit. And grit. Yeah, he's going to spend a grit because he recovers grit when he kills enemies, so it's actually very beneficial for him to spend grit because then he can feed it back to himself. And he's going to reroll these 3. That's what I'm talking about. 4 hits and a crit. So we deal with the crit first. Crit bypasses defense. Better look that up too. It's, again, been a long time. Yeah, ignore it and apply all the damage that the hit does directly to the enemy's health. So he rolls and does 2 damage right off the bat, knocking him down to 2. He's got 3 more hits. I'm gonna roll these all at the same time for damage. So we've got a 6, defense 4, 2 damage gets through and kills him. He gets, again, there's so many different things to reference. Plus 5 XP, plus whatever's on the card, 45. So he gets 50 XP for that kill. He gets to roll and recover grit on a 5 or 6, which he does not do. And he still had, no, he rolled all his combat. Yeah, so that's it. So that guy is dead. Oh. Now we roll, hold back to darkness. Boy, that is going to be virtually impossible. Which means it moves forward again and it lands on this thing can be a little bit annoying if you have giant fingers. Okay, dude, like sausage fingers. Yeah, he lands on a blood space wedge. Blood spatter, yeah. Yeah, draw a darkness card. Fuck. That is brutal. He does have a chance to cancel it, except he doesn't have the grip for it. So we're gonna pull out our darkness deck. I gotta shuffle all these decks. I have not shuffled them in a very long time, and of course it's not super easy to shuffle sleeve cards. Price you pay for. Once you start collecting this stuff and you have a lot of promo cards and such, you really don't necessarily want them to get all beat up. Because if you know anything about this genre, these games hold their value incredibly well. I've got a copy of Warhammer Quest, the original from 1995, and I've got both expansions for it, and it's all 100% mint condition. There's not a single token missing. I don't even know how much that's worth. It's probably worth close to $1,500, because the Undead expansion alone I've seen on eBay for $1,000 recently. I got it for maybe $180 or something like that. And the same will be true about Shadows of Brimstone someday, once it's, if it ever ends. People will be looking for it, and so you can keep your promo stuff in good condition, which means you have to sleeve all your cards, which means you gotta shuffle these absolutely enormous decks. But it's worth it for the game. Such an amazing game. It's gonna have to be good enough. Split the die. We're gonna split it again. So, split it so. Darkness card. Power of the Void. All void enemies are now +1 combat. Great. This wasn't bad enough. That could be mitigated if I pull a lot of undead enemies, if I pull a lot of these guys out, but still not awesome. No immediate effect though. And we come back around to the Gunslinger's turns. So one of them is targeting each of them. First one shoots at him, although again, line of sight might actually be a problem. Especially with the sumo there. So I suppose he would move. He's got a move of 4. And he's going to take his shots. Shots for Fear 2. Was he adjacent? Yeah, so technically he was adjacent to the sumo when the sumo's turn started. Hero starting their activation adjacent automatically takes 2 horror hits. So the sumo would have taken 2 horror hits. Nothing unusual about his horror resistance. He takes 2 sanity damage. Now this guy moves and attacks. Well, only 2 got through that time. Still not awesome. I'm gonna roll my defense. Blocks 1. 1 gets through, doing 2 damage. Wow, he has got a crap ton of damage on him already. He's only got 13 health. That's it for him though. The other one activates. Oh, starting the hero starting their activation, so he shouldn't have taken those horror hits yet, but he's gonna be adjacent to them, so he'll just take, you know, the 2 horror hits. Now, takes 1 sanity damage. Should have waited, but these guys don't move really. He's not gonna move, so it kind of wouldn't change anything. Although it could, because the Tridarian could kill. Yeah. I'm gonna pull that back. We'll do all that at the appropriate time. This guy's attacking. 4 shots, looking for 4s. Mamma mia, 4 freaking hits. Jeez. 2 hits, 4 damage gets through. Brutal. Okay, now it's Tredarin's turn. Tredarin needs to get something done here. He's still got the shatter grenades, but I don't want to risk hurting my guys. Yeah, he's gonna just take another shot with the old Darkstone Carbine. So he's gonna roll to see if he takes corruption, which of course he does. Although he gets to try and block it, which he does not. Fuck you. Range 10, shots 2 on the old Darkstone Carbine. Come on, baby! Jesus Christ! We also forgot to roll for his grit, which he does not get. And he misses again. He completely whiffs. Where am I looking? Okay, I'm reading this wrong. He hits on 3s. God damn it. He hits with range on 3+. So not only did he hit him this turn, but he probably hit him last turn. Let's just see what happens. And so I will take this to compensate. I will take this roll as his damage, his damage roll, which is 6. He's got 3 defense, which means 3 goes through and he's down to 1 hit point. I think that's how it works. And I will roll for his grid, which he does not get. There's a lot of house ruling when I play this because there's just too much to track. It's insane how much stuff is going on here. Yeah, so that's it for his turn. Now it's the Sumo's turn. So the Sumo is going to start by... Well, he's going to start by taking all those corruption hits. So I will just give him back the 3. That's what he would have taken. The horror hits, I should say. Need to check the rule on combat real quick. He can assign his hits to multiple people if he wants. Yeah, to any enemies within range. Okay. So he's going to roll his 4 combat. Gets a crit and a hit. Which he will take. So he rolls the crit against this guy, blows him away. Gets another 50 XP. And then he'll roll the hit against this guy. Oh, and when he kills somebody, he rolls on a 5 or 6 to get grip back, which he gets. No, he's definitely not having any grip problems. And then he'll roll, and it does not get through his defense. Okay, so that's it for the first couple rounds of my battle through this vicious mission from DiceFest and The Dead Shall Rise. I hope you enjoyed that. I will be continuing this gameplay as time goes on, and I'll probably post the second round right after the first round, basically, and try to keep these moving. But that's all the time I have for now, so hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you later.